I'm Janet Clark, and this is The Freedom Shift. Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of The Freedom Shift Podcast. I'm Janet Clark, and I'm happy you joined me today to make a freedom shift in your coaching or consulting business. So our topic today relates to the most important question that will make or break your sales results as a coach and or a consultant. Now, it's a question that you absolutely must ask if you want to sell more of your high-ticket, high-transformation programs. And this question that I'm going to share with you is one that you must first answer for yourself and then ask of your prospect. Are you ready for it? It's simply this. Why? Why do you do what you do? You know, very often we do ask our prospects this question, but we don't dig deep enough for their truth. And I'm going to talk more about that in a few minutes. But more importantly, I feel that as coaches and consultants, many of us aren't clear on the answer to this question ourselves. Now, just recently, I realized that this was something that I wasn't truly clear on for myself. And it didn't necessarily make me bad at sales, but it did affect the quality of the leads and the prospects that I was generating. My messaging wasn't attracting the ideal prospect that already knew that our values aligned. So if I asked you right now, why are you a coach or a consultant? How would you answer that? Maybe you would say, because I have some skills and knowledge that can help people. Or you might say, I know I'm good at something, so that's how I want to make my living. Or maybe you'll just say, because I want to make money, and I heard that coaching is a good way to do that. Perhaps, if you're like me, you wanted to be a coach because you got tired of the corporate hassle and you decided you wanted a life of freedom. And, you know, for me, that means financial freedom, time freedom, and lifestyle freedom, right? The freedom to do the work that I love to do. But why? Beyond that, what actually motivated you to make the transition into coaching? And that's a question I had to ask myself too. Now, I know that most of you, my listeners, have had professional careers, and I know I did, and that I actually enjoyed that career and made lots of money. Of course, in the corporate world, you have things like expense accounts. You can travel freely, at least I could. I could work from just about anywhere, and I could help both my team and my clients get something that they wanted. So for a long time, I believed that it was freedom and entrepreneurship and making an impact that was really my why. But recently, I had the chance to do some deeper soul searching to figure out the deeper why, the next layer of why I really do this. Why do I put myself on the line, taking the risks that I have to take as an entrepreneur, investing in my business and pushing myself into areas that I'm unfamiliar with and that are constantly changing? I mean, heck, I can make a high six-figure income just selling for other coaches. I don't have to be owning a business. In fact, I'm fortunate enough that I've reached a point in my life where I really don't even have to work anymore. Now, some of you may be there and some of you may not. But for those who have had their corporate career, like I have, I've been able to run some six-figure businesses for the past 10 years. So I'm not struggling for money. But there is something deeper and something more that I want to do with my life. And I want to use my talents and my gifts. I love the idea of having lots of money so that I can create fun experiences for my family, right, with my kids and my grandkids. And I love the idea of being able to invest in philanthropic causes. So those are the things that, sort of that why that's compelling me to keep going. But I've determined that my why, the deepest thing that sort of is my basis of who I am, is this conviction that I have that every person should have the freedom to do work that fulfills them. And I have this strong desire to help other people determine the best use of their own innate talents and gifts and integrate them into their work and their livelihood. So looking back over my own career and life, I realized that I was always into developing people. And what that looked like in the corporate world was grooming people in their career path, mentoring salespeople so that they could rise up and become better, higher level salespeople, or promoting those who were drawn into management positions, and sometimes even helping people who were in a sales role and didn't like it to find where they would fit in the corporate structure. Because I had figured out that every single person has their own unique skills and talents, and that if they use them, they are going to become successful. And not only become successful, but feel fulfilled. So I made it a mission to guide them toward the best way to do that. And I found that within everyone who I met along the way, there was something they excelled at or loved to do. And I found myself helping these people who worked with me to find their thing and then find a way to maximize the potential of doing their thing through their work. So in my corporate days, I did it by matching them up with the right position in the right department. But later, as an entrepreneur, I've been doing the same thing, but I do it in a little different way. So I do it now by helping coaches and consultants to monetize their strengths and their talents by helping them to sell their high transformation and their high ticket programs. So this is a shift, right? I'm starting to realize that my why is more about this fundamental belief I have that people should use their strengths and talents and be able to make a living using them, which is different than whether they're an entrepreneur or whether they're in a corporate job. It actually doesn't matter. So I realized that my why, it's more of a calling. And I'm sure you'll notice that very often the subjects of my podcasts are inspired by great books that I read. Recently, I read this book that is called Start With Why. It really helped me to do this kind of internal work and to really think about my why in a little different way. This book, Start With Why, by Simon Sinek, is one of the best that I've read in a really long time. So in it, he asked the question, why does your company exist? Why do you get out of bed every morning? And why should anyone care? And he goes on to explain that what you do and how you do it may change as your life evolves, but that core belief that you have, that purpose that really motivates you, is always the same. So in my spiritual teaching, they call it the golden thread. So that's what I'm going to really challenge you to start thinking about, because that explanation really helped me, and I'm hoping that it will help you too. See, for a long time, I thought that my purpose was, as I said, helping entrepreneurs launch and grow their sales. But that was my what, not my why. Because earlier in my life, I had the same why, but my what and my how was through my corporate work. My what and how is now focused on entrepreneurs, specifically coaches and consultants who have a strong desire to create a life of freedom by doing the work that fulfills their higher purpose. And that why is my belief that we all should have the freedom to do the work that fulfills us. And so the people who I attract to work with me are those that will resonate with that why. Which really explains why I'm not the right coach for every other coach. There are those who aren't motivated to build their business based on fulfilling a higher purpose. Some have other motivations. Perhaps they just want to make money, or they're just motivated to build an empire or they want to lead a movement. If they don't resonate with my why, they aren't going to be attracted to my messaging. And more than likely, the fact that you are listening or subscribe to this podcast is because you also value the freedom of doing work that fulfills your life purpose, because that theme runs throughout everything that I talk about. And for me, what that really means is being able to integrate my spiritual life and my work life through my business. Getting clear on your why is not the only way to be successful, but it is the only way to attract and maintain the right clients. Before you decide what your program entails, it's important to ask, why did I become a coach or a consultant in the first place? And what can I bring, which is my core belief, into reality? Like, how do I bring that core belief into reality? So now let's talk about sales, which is really the subject of what I do, right? It's kind of the how I help people to fulfill their higher purpose, right? As I do that now through helping them with their sales. So once you determine your why and you establish what you offer to your ideal clients, you must attract them. And that starts with recognizing that people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it, as long as it aligns with their own why. You must win their hearts and minds by first attracting them through your messaging or prospecting, and then leading them through a systematic buying process. This is where the art and the science of sales come into play. You can do all the right things in a sales conversation, ask all the right questions, but you will not get the sale if you don't make a heart connection with them. Your prospects are people who must know, like, and trust you before they're going to buy from you. And the best way to build that know, like, and trust factor is by authentically sharing your why. When you do this right, you create a safe environment for them to open up and share their why with you. A lot of salespeople make the mistake, and I've done this myself, of trying to sell based on logic and facts. However, these things, although they're important to selling transformational programs, right? There has to be some sort of logic around why they're buying it, and you have to provide some facts to them of what you're going to offer them. But the critical piece that makes people decide to jump into these transformational programs is emotion. People buy based on their hopes and the dreams, and they make emotional decisions, which then they justify with logic. When you are authentic in the spirit of service and you attract people who are drawn to your why, sales happen without resorting to any sort of manipulation. You won't need to use tactics like special pricing or promotions or scarcity or intimidation, which unfortunately a lot of people in our industry do. For those who don't understand their own why and who focus more on the what, they find that they have to use these manipulative tactics in order to thrive. But manipulation creates uncertainty, buyer's remorse, and increases stress for both the seller and the buyer. If you ask the best salespeople what it takes to be great at sales, they will always tell you that it takes conviction or belief in what they're selling. So how do you acquire this conviction? You design your program to align with your why. When your program is in alignment with your why, then every word that comes out of your mouth will be authentic. And it is this authenticity that produces the relationship, and the relationships are what build the trust. Without trust, you'll find yourself competing with everyone else on price and features. And without authenticity, you'll have to resort to manipulation. And you'll have to start trying to compete with different pricing, promotions, peer pressure, fear. Take your pick. Will it work? Yes, these manipulative things do work, but only for the short time, as we're coming to find out that so many people have been sort of manipulated into making these high-ticket purchases, investing in these programs, and not getting the result, and not feeling nurtured and supported and taken care of by these people who they've invested their money with. Manipulation pushes people to make a decision by appealing to these irrational desires or playing on their fears. But it's when that emotional feeling goes deeper, that insecurity or uncertainty, that the emotional reaction aligns with how the prospects see themselves. So they become inspired and they make decisions based on their own why and the affinity that they feel for you and your why. So when you help your prospects identify their why, once you've got your own sense of what you're all about and your big why, then they're going to want to buy based on their desire to fulfill their inner drive. So your goal as a coach or a consultant should be to do business with those who believe what you believe. When you are selective about doing business with those whose why identifies with yours, then a high level of trust emerges. And it is this level of trust that results in true transformation. So I'm not just talking to you as a salesperson today. I'm talking to you as a coach or a consultant who is selling a program that is highly transformational. And I'm talking to you about incorporating the why you're doing what you do into your messaging and being able to attract people who really resonate with why you're doing what you're doing, and then being able to have a conversation with them where they can dig a little deeper to figure out why they're even attracted to you and what their big why is. When you establish that level of trust, they will start to view you as the trusted authority in your industry, rather than just another salesperson who's trying to sell them another program. So when you understand your why, you will be able to be more calm and more relaxed when you're communicating with your prospective buyers. And your calmness and your open conversational manner sets the stage for your prospect to open up to you and treat you like an advisor rather than the dreaded salesperson who's trying to stuff his or her solution down their prospect's throat. So the most important question to assure great sales results and great clients is why? Your why and their why. And when you get this right, you will be amazed at how easy selling becomes. And it won't just be easy for you to sell your programs, but it's also going to be easy for somebody else to come in and sell your programs, because you will be attracting people who want to get access to you because they resonate with your message, they resonate with your why, their why and your why are in alignment, and they will be willing to enroll through somebody else in order to get access to work with you. I hope that makes sense to you. Okay, now here's something really cool. Occasionally, I love to make a special offer at the end of one of my podcasts, and we never know when that's going to be, but today is one of those days. Because I truly do value you as a listener, and because you've listened to this entire podcast today, I know it's interesting to you, so I want to give you a gift. And I love sending my subscribers gifts of appreciation, and something that I love to give is books. And as I mentioned earlier, one of the most inspiring books that I've read lately, one that spoke to my heart, my mind, and my soul, is Start With Why by Simon Sinek. So if you would love me to send you a copy of this book, all you have to do is email me at janet@thefreedomshift.com. and write in the subject line, why, WHY. And I will know that that means that you heard the podcast and that you want me to send you the book, which I will do. Actually, what I'll do is I'll send you a link so that you can fill in your mailing address and information so that then I can send you the gift. So that's it for today. I hope that you will give a lot of thought to this. I hope you will read the book. If you'd like me to send it to you, obviously, respond to me. I'd love to hear from you. Even if you want to talk about anything, ask me questions, make comments. I'm always open to hearing from my subscribers. I love it, in fact. I thrive on it. And so that's it for this week. But until next week, remember the most important sales question is why? Happy selling and bye for now. Thank you for listening to this week's episode of the Freedom Shift Podcast. If you want more great information about increasing your sales, visit our website, www.thefreedomshift.com/podcast.